Oh. Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Yesterday, I met a student friend after a long time, maybe more than 5 years. And we were catching up on our lives. And I was sharing with him, he's recently married, that my life on Monday and Tuesday compared to Wednesday and Thursday has been very different. On Monday and Tuesday, I was with our children. So life becomes very unpredictable. On Wednesday and Thursday, I was without them. I'm in Boston right now. So life becomes very predictable. If we can extrapolate this to the many moving parts in all of our lives, when you're tending to many moving parts, life becomes unpredictable. Instead of complaining about this and criticizing this and crying about this, what do we do in our community, in our workshop? We're training ourselves to be adaptable. If one is adaptable, it doesn't matter how unpredictable their life is. Relatedly, yesterday evening, a large group of us were talking before dinner, and a seeker was sharing about another family, how all of the children in this family are doing well for themselves. And I knew the implication she was making, so I challenged her and I said, well for themselves in what way? And so then she went on to describe that so many of them are doctors and lawyers and so on. And I shared with her, what's the point of being a doctor and a lawyer and so on if you're not happy? Isn't doing well for yourself really to be doing well of yourself? In verses 1 through 3 of chapter 9, Sri Krishna shares this Raja Vidya, this science of happiness, will be followed by those who have faith. Faith that they are more than their profession. Faith that they have more than their valuables. Those with faith will rediscover Raja Guhya, not this royal science of happiness, but rather this royal happiness. Comparatively, those without faith in being more rather than doing more, what happens to them? What is their life like? Mrityu samsara vartmani. They spin in change and death and change and death. There is no happiness there. Sri Krishna begins this Raja Vidya in verses 4 through 6. the evolution of thought based on one's evolution relating to these verses. The beginner seekers feel there is the relative and absolute. Each of them exists. The intermediate seeker, their evolution of thought is the absolute is appearing as the relative. The advanced seeker, there is only the absolute. So now you analyze for yourself, where do you fit in this scheme? Throughout these verses, I've shared the term, instead of existence, dependence. The relative depends on the absolute. Sharing this in one more practical sense, the relative's purpose should be the absolute. If you feel your relative, then that means that there is an absolute. That is your purpose. That's the Raja Vidya. For you to feel that you are absolute, that's the Raja Guhya. How do you know that you're following this? How can you follow this? This shift from absolute and relative to absolute as relative to absolute. Closure. Close your relationship with the relative. Shut it down. And ways that we've explored this in Meaningful Mornings is to compartmentalize. If you got into an argument with someone yesterday, compartmentalize that. Move forward. If you worked hard and this didn't manifest for you, shut it down. Move forward. In terms of the past wasn't ideal for anyone. Learn from it. Move forward. In counseling, the term is processing. If you had a rough childhood, if you had a traumatic experience, process that. But in all of these circumstances, finally, move forward. Moving forward is the way that we rediscover our royalness, that we are royalty. We're all aligned. Shri Krishna is continuing with this thought. But now he turns this to a more technical sense, a more poetic sense. Verse number 7. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaya punastani kalpadau visrajamyaham. Kaunteya. It's a very soft name for Prince Arjuna. Sarva bhutani. He's used this phrase many times, which means all beings. Even if we don't go to the next quarters, there's a lot for us to learn from this term, all beings. Many of you are of Indian origin, like myself. And as you were navigating, living in America, Canada, etc., you developed associations based on your state, correct? Based on your language, the Gujarati Samaj, the Tamil Sangha, and so on. Did you ever grow out of those? All doesn't mean just Gujaratis, even though many Gujaratis think that. All doesn't mean just humans. That's what we're trying to break open in this community. For those who saw our course's poster, what is shared this year is associating with inclusivity leads to independence. That's Sarva Bhutani. Yesterday, our crew had a meeting with the World Wildlife Foundation Fund. And they wanted an update on our fundraiser, our campaign to support our elephants and tigers in India. And they shared that they were impressed that we had raised over $10,000 in a few months. And I felt, as they were sharing this, that they have low standards. $10,000 is nothing. It's embarrassing for our community to offer such little support to our elephants and our tigers. And that's my point. For us, Bhuta means our family, those from the same state, or at maximum humans. What about animals, plants, stones? Prakritim yanti mamikam. All beings yanti go, prakritim nature, mamikam my. All beings go to my nature. Here nature is with a small n. The English definition for prakriti is nature. We may not be able to reflect on that, so here's another way to think about this. Prakriti is unprocessed elements. This pen is processed earth and water, correct? This body is so processed. All it eats is processed stuff and it becomes processed. But Prakriti means it's unprocessed. Okay? Reflect on that. More is coming. Kalpakshaye punastani. At the end of a kalpa, that is the time when all beings come to my nature. Can you remind me how long a kalpa is? Please remind me. It was only one chapter ago. You know that, correct? And it was a short chapter too. 4.32 million years, yes. Here, the word kalpa really means mahakalpa, so 4.32 million years. And one of you used the word eon. Who knows what eon means, but it means forever, correct? A time that we can't fathom. And then what happens? Kalpadau visarjamyaham. At the beginning of the kalpa, then they go from unmanifest or unprocessed to manifest or processed. A technical verse, yes? Okay, I'll leave you with a framework on how to personalize this. See if you can chart this out. Conscious, subconscious, unconscious, consciousness. Okay, most shallow, conscious. Most deep, consciousness. Okay, that's like the column. Now, when we are awake, we are conscious. When we are dreaming, that is our subconscious. When we are sleeping, we are identified with the unconscious. But what's deeper than waking, dreaming, and sleeping? Please remind me, I have forgotten. Share with me in the chat, what's deeper? Awareness. The fourth, turiya. Awareness is not affected, not afflicted by sleep, dream, waking. Okay. Here's another way to analyze this. And this is the analysis that Sri Krishna is sharing. When we're alive, like right now, that is us being conscious. When we die, and this body dies, then we're identified with the subconscious. The mind, intellect don't die. When creation, which is processed, is dissolved to become unprocessed, there is still the unconscious, the ego, the vasanas. But what's deeper than that? Existence. So Shri Krishna is trying. He's trying hard. There are almost 350 verses that are shared. He's begging us to live in a more high and deep way. Yogyata. Mindfulness is good. Intentionality is better. Yogyata is the best. With the vision that you are not a human. There is no Tvam. You are divine. There is only Tat. Normalize that. Breathe it, think it. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to reorient your relationship between the air and space. How many of you tried that? Air and space. Okay. See, all of these applications are like apps, right? That's what it's called in with technology. You have so many apps that you use all day. I give you an app that will help transform the individuality to infinity, but you don't do it. The app was to not instinctively feel air and space, but to have the vision. These are actually thoughts and awareness. The more you think about awareness, the more you develop into that. Here is your application for this morning. I'm going to give you an option. Here's the first. Many of you will think it's strange. That's why I'm giving you another option. The first is, I want you to believe in aliens. Okay? Believe in aliens. These apps only work if you reflect on them, okay? Otherwise, you just judge me. Here's your second option. I want you to find a hole in earth, and I want you to reflect on that hole. Not in the hole. Okay, you will get stuck there. You won't get out. I want you to reflect on that hole. And I'm not asking you to dig one. We've dug enough holes in the earth. Just find one and reflect on that hole. H-O-L-E. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.